$1,000,000.
This is a special edition of WeatherScope. Comprehensive severe weather coverage from the Weather Channel Forecast Center.
Well, thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Rich Johnson here with John Hope, our hurricane expert. John, can you summarize for us what we've seen happen with the hurricane late last night, also into early this afternoon?
Well, as you know, last night the hurricane weakened, but early this morning it began to strengthen. It strengthened quite a bit. It had been down to 80 miles an hour. Now it's up to 105. That makes it a Category 2. Not that far from Category 3. If it goes over 111, we have a Category 3. But we think the eye now is getting in close enough. It's going to be crossing the coast the next few hours, and after that we are sure it won't get any stronger than it is.
So actually a part of the northern eye wall maybe on the coast now, or just about?
It is very much, it's very, very close to the coast. We're getting some reports from Atlantic Beach indicating that they're getting winds upwards of 100 miles an hour and a very high tide in there, even though this is a time of astronomical low tide. We've had reports we have a peak wind of 115 miles an hour at Frying Pan Shoals. That's an automated weather station. That anemometer is up a ways. It might be up about 100 feet.
How far off the coast is that?
Well, I think it's about 15 or so miles on southeast of Cape Fear itself.
Okay. Let's take a look at the latest conditions as of 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Bertha was centered 33.3 north, 78.0 west. That is 65 miles south of Wilmington. Top sustained winds at 105. It is moving still northward at 13 miles per hour. And the pressure has been relatively unchanged, so maybe the hurricane has topped out with its top sustained winds. Watches, no changes here, no changes with the warnings. It's still the brunt of the worst weather on that right semicircle, which keeps some of the highest winds offshore. John, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think we want to point out, though, that in the last 4 or 5 hours that we see more going on around the western side of that eye that we saw before. So there are going to be some strong winds in the eye wall west of the center as well.
So maybe some hurricane force gust on that west side.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, yeah. We're very close to it anyway.
Okay, let's take a look now at some other information concerning our hurricane. And this is the latest conditions that you're experiencing. There was a little bit of a lull. Have the winds picked up at all?
Rich, as you could surmise, they're not very good right now. The wind is swirling. This is pretty good. I'm guessing probably 60 miles per hour. Not as bad as it was earlier today. We're seeing sheets of rain coming down. Optimistically, the sky appears to be getting a little brighter. I have not noted any kind of a wind shift, however, but we've had a report coming in from the coast down to the west of the Holden Beach area. They are reporting somewhat of a shift in the wind. They didn't tell me what that shift was, but we're hoping that it's more to a westerly direction, suggesting maybe the worst is soon to be over with.
Bill, again, we'd like to reiterate the reason you were farther inland and not on the coast is because this is a Category 2 hurricane, and there could be some fairly big consequences, of course, with damage, also a storm surge.
That is correct, Rich. The folks here are reminiscing about Hurricane Diana. If I recollect, it was about 83 or 84 coming on through here, and that did a full loop. They're hoping, please, nothing like that. But in any event, the folks here in Brunswick County, back about 5 years ago, they moved all their operations from nearer to the beach farther inland, so now they're in the heart of Brunswick County, and we are about 15 miles inland, and believe me, this is a fortified bunker all around this whole place, so this is going to withstand anything Mother Nature can throw at her.
Bill, we're glad that you're back as far as that, because this hurricane is strong enough now, even though, yes, it's a Category 2, but it doesn't lack that much of being a Category 3. And out on the barrier islands is no place to be riding this out in the next couple of hours.
John, I believe that we've had also some reports out of the Southport area. That is on the mainland. It is on water, but there is Cape Fear out to its south, and there's a long barrier island off to its southwest. And the reports out of Southport are not very good. We've had reports of high water and also sustained winds of 80 miles per hour there in the past hour.
We had a report from Atlantic Beach that the pier was half destroyed. Half of it just in the last few minutes disappeared.
I can believe that very much, and unfortunately, I guess we're probably in a pretty direct path right here. Hopefully, as you had said, the eye wall is a little more ragged now. Hopefully, that's a sign of some weakening, and we do have land ahead of this hurricane now, so from here on out, yes, it is a big rainmaker, and yes, there is a big danger for some flooding, but hopefully the wind and the storm surge will begin to subside very, very soon.
Well, we think that certainly will. Once the eye gets in, then we know it's going to diminish. We can be very confident of that.
John, I know the folks here rely on tourism a great deal. They also rely on crops, and they are very concerned about that as well. The tobacco crop is a big cash crop here, as are the soybeans and the corn, and they are quite upset about this because the crop is at a very delicate stage right now. Some of the tobacco they did try to cultivate, but most of it, which is really their bumper, is still in the ground, and unfortunately this wind is knocking it over in a lot of cases.
That is very unfortunate.
Okay, Bill, thanks a lot for that report. We'll be heading back with you hopefully at the top of the hour.
Okay.
Well, John, also with a landfalling hurricane, a threat of tornadoes, we can show our viewers the latest with the tornado watches that we have for the coast of North Carolina, from Myrtle Beach up to Greenville, Washington, right on out to New Bern. Our satellite photograph showing the eye of the hurricane, exactly what we're looking at, is right through this area right here, just south of Wilmington. Again, we were talking to Bill earlier, and he was over in this position here with Vin, who we talked to a little bit earlier. Jeff, out toward the Outer Banks and at Buxton earlier, and he is moving a little bit, and we should be talking to him just a little bit later. We have another vantage point to look at, and this is the radar. Probably this does the best job to tell us exactly what is going on. Again, if we can look very closely, we could see the coastal areas right through here. Here is the center of the hurricane. It is not very far off the coast. John, can you add more about what we're seeing on our radar?
Well, right around that eye now, it's getting to be a closed eye, and it looks more like an eye wall than it did a couple hours ago. Well, that, and plus the fact is we can all see it's very close to the coast and is going to be crossing the coast. And at that point, we should begin to see some weakening.
Okay, thanks, John. That's it for this update. We can head.
Very heavy rains are likely across the Carolinas, and that band of heavy rain will eventually migrate northward as the remnants of Bertha also start to work their way northward too over the weekend. Temperature-wise, well, cooling down across the plain states, comfortable 70s and 80s. Still feels very warm and summery towards the south, though, with the 90s. And we've got a big heat wave on tap across the western states for this upcoming weekend. Look at the 90s popping up east of the Cascades. A hot weather pattern for Yakima, Walla Walla, Washington, Pendleton, and Portland, Oregon, and some really searing heat for the interior valleys of California. Around Sacramento and back over towards Fresno and Bakersfield, highs eclipsing the century mark by late in the weekend. Stay tuned. We'll check out your local weather and more.